Yeah, buddy.
What's going on, Paul?
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to this, man. I've been watching some of your stuff. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
happy to share, man. So listen, happy to share. So hopefully I can help some other men as they're dealing with some stuff going on. So yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
Where
thank you for
you
having me.
calling us from?
New Jersey. I'm a New
New
Jersey
Jersey.
dude. Jersey
We get a
dude.
lot. We
You
get
get
a
a lot
lot
of
of
New
Jersey
Jersey's.
people.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
y'all,
Y'all going through it
but
up there.
at least you know you present. Your kids matter. You know what I'm saying? At least we know
Yes.
that much about y'all fellas up in New Jersey.
Yeah, y'all fighting.
Um.
Thank you.
So
Uh,
let's do it. You want to start? You want me to
all
start?
right.
What you want to do? Cause
All right. Well, all right. We finna get right into it.
Go.
How many kids do you have?
I had three. Now I have two.
Okay.
okay.
How old are they?
13 and 6, going on 7 in January, and the one that was mine is going to be 10 in December.
So when you say was yours,
Yeah.
is it a paternity concern there? Is that what the issue was? You found out that it's not biologically your child?
Yes, yeah. So I had a child that was conceived in New Jersey. When I conceived the child, because I wasn't going to be in a relationship with the mother, because at the time I was going through a divorce, she chose to move to Florida.
Mm.
So that was a while ago. I started getting alienated from the child that I had from my former marriage.
Okay, we're gonna start
Okay.
there then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just
So
was trying to get the basics because you said you
Yeah, we
had three and
was,
then you had to have two.
and we
So
didn't want to make a mistake. We didn't know
yeah.
if the child was deceased or nothing like that.
and
So
then wanted
Thank
to,
you.
allow you the opportunity to be transparent if you wanted to share that, but just to, kind of be clear on why you
Yeah.
said that.
Yeah.
So starting with
the baby mamas, how many
Mm.
baby mothers or
Yeah.
mothers
So
of your kids do you have?
yeah, I got a timeline. So I'll start off with I was married for 10 years. I had a child with that my former wife. When I was going through divorce, I co-parented, I conceived another child.
okay,
All right. So well, I thought I did.
okay,
Then after I was going through that, I thought I had worked through my relationship stuff. I got in another relationship, and then I had another child. So
Mm.
there's
okay. So
three baby mamas.
the first baby mama, y'all were married for how long?
10 years.
Who filed for divorce?
I did.
Why?
I was drinking myself to death. I was unhappy. Recognizing that moment, I got married for the wrong reasons. Like I grew up in a divorced household, so that woman was white. So I
Okay,
perceived that because her family was together, like that would be something that would support me and help me to be more of a family man. I was completely ignoring all the red flags. So I didn't really start to recognize that until later on in the marriage when I just wasn't happy. We were going through therapy. We went through 3 years of therapy.
Man.
Nothing was working. Like I recognized at that point there was a failure to accept accountability because I kept going into it thinking it was something that I had to do, something I had to do to work on me. Recognize that there was like some manipulation going on there. So then when
okay,
I finally recognized I was in therapy and I had some very good friends that were able to see what was really going on. And they were like, look, man, I don't know if I can curse here, so I'm not gonna, but they were like, you're messing up. What's going
okay,
on? So they pointed out that, like, listen, you're drinking a lot, you're smoking a lot, like you something's up, man. You need to address this. So actually, I recognized it was time for me to go because I was at a wedding, and at the time, my former wife and I, she would never come with me to different functions. I was at a wedding. I had literally because it was my friend's wedding. They were like, you had like 7 pitchers of red sangria. I drove home, got in an accident. I was able to drive my car home, and on the way home, I got pulled over by the cops. Cops were like, I don't, you listen, whatever people believe in, whatever, like, I don't know if it was God, universe, spirit, whatever, but something had that cop say, listen, I'm going to let you go. At that time, when I went home, I sat outside for a while and I recognized it was time for me to leave because if I could either stay, if I stayed, I was gonna I was gonna be dead soon.
Man.
Well, we're
And
glad that you made that decision so that,
me
of
too.
course, you're here today. So after the
Yeah.
divorce, I'm assuming it was nasty. It was bitter, right?
Not fun. Far from fun.
And so she
Mhm.
started alienating the kid that you two have together. So tell us about that.
So it
Hold on,
started
right?
when,
Before you go in there,
yeah,
so what about the other two baby mamas? Was it a situationship, relationship?
situationship. Yeah. So it was the second baby mama was a situationship. We had been friends for a while. So when we were going through our things, like I was going through my divorce and she was going through a breakup of someone she was with for 7 years. So it was like we started hooking up. I was helping her move, and I thought we conceived, and then we went on that path. So that was how the
Okay.
second baby mommy came up. The third baby mama, though, I thought I had all my relationship stuff worked out. Wrong.
Okay.
Found out I was still ignoring the red flags. Now, she wanted to be in relationship and have a kid. And we were in relationship for about a year and a half. I was very particular about, listen, I don't want to have another kid right now, and I want to be married to have another kid because I'm still navigating the situation with the two sons that I have now. We broke up, we got back together, and then we broke up again. And then 2 months later, which was Father's Day, she sent me a card saying that I was going to be a father.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. So now let's get into it. Let's start back with your ex-wife.
sure. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So that part where we got divorced in the alienation. Yeah. All right. So I started recognizing at that point that like she was starting to pull my son away. So what that looked like was the days that I had visitation is that like she would say he was sick or he didn't want to go or like something was going on. She had a party or whatever the situation was. But like my time with him was getting put to the side. So that's when I started really getting more familiar with the family court and motions and petitions and things like this. So that's when I started noticing. I was like, damn, man, I'm getting pulled away from my son. And it was hurtful. I was like, this sucks. And then plus I was managing divorce and separation. So while we were like at the time we still had a house together. So I was paying for the mortgage while at the same time I was also paying for an apartment because I choose to leave and let her stay in the house. Fellas, be mindful of that if you're in that situation. Do you have a question?
No, I was just saying you right about that because if
Yeah.
whoever leave, they giving up everything
Everything.
when it comes to
Everything.
a divorce.
Yes. So if you're in that situation, get counsel first before you do anything. So that's when I started recognizing that like I'm getting alienated from my child. So over the years it got worse, and then when we went through the divorce, then it really hit because that's when I recognized in family court there's accountability on one side. Like there was accountability for me to make sure that I paid child support, but as far as her abiding by that parenting time, she was completely lax with that. And like at the time, like being transparent, I was working a lot of different jobs. Like, I don't want to be the stereotypical Jamaican descent, but like I was working tree job at the time. So a lot of times, like when I had my time with my son, like I'd be like 15 or 20 minutes late and I would let her know. But then she would use that against me as like, well, you were late, so he's not going with you. So another tip for the dudes, like, listen, if you're going to commit to something, stick to it because someone's going to use that against you. So when I started going through that, I was like, damn, this sucks. And I started getting really angry and I started acting out where I was like, listen, I don't even want to be with him. Right. And it was like, it was messing me up. So that's when I was consoling or confiding in the second baby mama, because she was
Mm-hmm.
going through the same thing. When we were hooking up and then I found out that she was pregnant, I saw that as my chances like redemption. Like I'm like, oh, jump, like maybe I can make things happen better with this
So
one.
so baby, basically you was the problem of
Yes.
why you broke up, right? Okay.
Wait,
So
with
how
who? The second baby mama or the first one?
For the first one, for your wife, your ex-wife. So
Um,
you was the issue.
um, I say I was a problem because I wasn't paying attention to the red flags and I wasn't really paying attention to what was a line for me. That was my
Okay.
problem. Yeah, that was my problem. Mhm.
Okay. So now you get with the your second baby mama, and so you basically cheating, right? Because you're not divorced
Not
yet,
divorced
correct?
yet. No.
Okay. All
Not
right.
divorced. Yeah. So I wasn't divorced. And I was like, because I think it's something, especially like this is for dudes going through some stuff, right? Fellas, take time and be with yourself. If you're going through a relationship breakup, as tempting as it may be to console or confide or get comfort with other women, don't do it. Be free of doing it. Take time to yourself, console with you, confide in your friends, get therapy, do it men's group, whatever you got to do. Take care of yourself because, like, as a person that coaches other men now, I find that it's easy to settle into other women or drinks. For me, it was weed. Like then I started like experimenting with drugs and things like that because I wanted to escape. Like I didn't want to deal with what I was dealing with. So if I could go back, I would have just been by myself and really make sure I healed before I went into another relationship.
Okay. So why? So when did the parental alienation start? Like after you had the other child, or
No, it started before that. It started when we got separated. It started when we got
okay,
separated. That's when it really started to kick in. But it wasn't as aggressive because like, I still had access to the house. So I could go in, I could come and go whenever I wanted. I just didn't want to be in that environment anymore. It was just it was not a good look because that's when and I don't want to listen, I'll be free of labeling her whatever it is, man, because she had her thing, that's her thing. I know for me, I was failing to address the red flags. So that's when I was like, I got to get out of here because it's like, it's not going to go anywhere good. So I made the choice to leave.
okay,
And that's when, like, I don't know what was going on for her, but my experience had me thinking that, like, this was her way of getting back at me by holding the kid. And that's when I was like, I started getting very angry. And that's when I was like acting out in different ways, like sexually, with drinking, drugs, things like that.
okay.
Yeah.
So how? So what were some of the things that she was doing that she was alienating the kid?
For my first wife,
Yes.
so it was she would stop like when I was supposed to come pick him up, she wouldn't be home. She'd say
Mm.
she was at her parents' house. I'd go to the parents' house, then she wouldn't be there. So it was a lot of like shuffling. She would say as he started getting older, she was like, well, he doesn't want to go there or he's sick. I would go pick him up. Well, you were late. Like, so she would proactively, she would just not let me see the kid. So even if I'd show up, I go to the house, like even if I was a little late, like she would still show, like I would still show up and she wouldn't let me see my kid. So one of my friends that was an officer at the time, he was like, well, listen, every time that you're supposed to see the kid, because after experiencing this when I was separated for it was like 7 months, while I had a family court case, I also put in another case for parenting time. So once that was established in the county that she lived in,
Mm.
my time was not always abided by. She wasn't always going with the times. So that's when I started recognizing, I was like, what the heck is going on? And I didn't know what parental alienation was. Like, this was all just like, I just thought like, well, what the heck is going on? Like, why can't I see the kid? Like, what? I don't understand. And I'm just thinking like, she's just angry and bitter. That's when I started recognizing, especially going back on it, this is when the alienation started. A lot of times when I recognize that alienation could start with, it can start with manipulation. Well, you didn't do this, so you're not going to get this. Or, well, your dad's not showing it up again. And I noticed that as my son got older, he would start to say a lot of things that I was like, where are you getting this from?
Oh
So I
yeah, because she was putting him in a lot of grown situations, grown conversations, telling him things that he shouldn't have been told.
right,
Yeah.
right. And listen, since this is about transparency, what I found, like when I found it was going that way towards me, there was times like I started putting it back on her, right? Well, your mom should do this, your mom, blah, 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 blah. Until I started really getting in therapy and I had some really solid mentors. I'm like, you got to cut that stuff out, man. Because like, just because she's doing it doesn't mean you do it. So that's when I started recognizing, and a friend was like, listen, anytime she fails to abide by the agreement, go to the police in her town, file a report. So when you go back to the courts, you have this. So after it was a year, I went through this for a year at the time. I went back into court to say, hey, judge, listen, I got this from her town. This is what's happening. And then all that the judge said was, well, Mrs. Newell, you have to make sure that the kid sees his father. And she said, well, judge, he doesn't want to see his dad. The judge was like, you're the parent. This is the agreement. But there was no accountability to be like, well, no, if you don't let him see the kid, then you'll go to jail. Like, for example, for me in child support, after I went through my divorce, I went through a really tough time financially. So there was a couple times there were warrants out for my arrest. Once I started getting back on my feet, like because I was in arrears at the time, like they would clear out my bank account like on random times. Tax returns were gone. So I was going deeper and deeper into a hole. And then I was also not even seeing my kid. So I started getting extremely angry with stuff. I was like, this is crazy. And that's when I really started acting out and doing some stupid stuff, man.
Oh man. So what about your second child's mother?
Well, so once she lived in New Jersey, and when we were hooking up, I helped her move. Like we had intercourse, we had sex. And when she found out that she was pregnant, I was like, oh man, I was like, well, listen, I'm still married. I was like, and I want to help with this kid. I want to raise this kid. But like, I'm not going to be in a relationship with you. We're going to co-parent. So once she learned that, she was like, well, if you're not going to be in a relationship, I'm moving to Florida. And I was like, what? I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Like,
so did she know that you was being alienated from your first
yeah,
child?
She knew. And like looking back on it, like I can connect the dots looking back. But when I was in that situation, I asked her, I was like, hey, listen, were you with anyone else? And she was like, I was, but the timelines don't match up. You're the father. And I'm like, now again, because I was in this space of pain and hurt and failing to, I was in a space, so I wasn't clear. I was not clear. I just wanted time with my kid. So when she told me that she was pregnant and then she was moving to Florida, I was still in that space of like, I'll do whatever it takes to be there for her and for the kid. So once she moved to listen, again, pausing for a second for the men that are watching this and maybe in a similar situation, know your rights. Okay. Just know your rights because every state is different. If you're pregnant and if a woman that you're with is pregnant and you're not married, just please know your rights because a lot of times women could have a baby and they could be out. Now, here's the thing. The alienation started when she moved to Florida. But the thing was, I was like, look, I'm committed to being in this kid's life. So I was going to Florida doing the FaceTime thing when she gave birth to my son, when she gave birth to the kid, like I was down there for a month, like, helping out because listen, women go through a lot when they give birth. So I was like, look, I'm not going to have you do anything. Like, look, I got you, man. Like, yo, I got you, blah, blah, blah. And it was great for me because it brought me back to what it was like being like with my first son, like that initial, like getting the connection and like just watching him grow. So I was going down back and forth to Florida a lot. And, we were still connected for a minute, right? I'd say it was probably 3 years. And then like we started, once I lost my job, then I didn't have all the resources to be able to get down there as often. And then she got a boyfriend. So like I would be able to go down to Florida. I'd be able to save some money because I could stay with her. Like she had a car. So I'd be able to go back and forth. once she had the boyfriend was like, "No, nah, I'm not buying. I'm not having that. So he can go stay somewhere else." So that's what it was extra expensive. So I wasn't able to go down there as often. Now I started recognizing, I was like, damn, man, like that's when the alienation really started to hit more. And I was like, this is crazy. So like there'd be times like, again, like I got started getting very angry because I was like, damn, man, what's going on here? Like I want to see my kid, but like, what's the reason I'm not able to see my kid? So that's when it was, I personally, again, being accountable, I withdrew. I was inconsistent.
So you think it was the boyfriend?
Uh, if I'm pausing this long, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I think that was part of
So
it. I don't think that was the majority of it, though.
okay. And
Mhm.
so because you was unable to get back and forth, that caused a gap, right? In
Yeah.
between everything with you and your son. But what caused the doubts? So did you ever have doubts before?
I had some doubts. And I chose to ignore them. Be frank with you. I chose to
Okay.
ignore them because I didn't want to know the truth at the time. I
Okay.
didn't want to know.
Fair.
Yeah, I was like,
So get us to how you found out.
geez. All right. So last time I saw him was I went down for his 7th birthday. We had a good time. And the only way I could connect with him was through the mother's phone. So when I was reaching out after I left, I was reaching out through her phone and I wasn't hearing anything. Like, or it'd be like, oh, well, there would be like a big delay in me getting to him. And then whenever we set up time, being transparent, there were times that I missed the times. So
That's
she
the
was
biggest mistake you can
biggest
do.
mistake. Yup. Big
So
mistake.
wait, all
Mhm.
while this is going on with the second child, did you have an order established with the first child yet, or were you still being
Yep.
alienated from the first child?
No, I had an order with the first child, but again, she wasn't always abiding by that though.
Okay, so you were dealing with the strife there of her not, abiding by the court order, and then you got a second kid that you never really thought was yours, but you kind of just stuck with it, ignored the red flags, and just wanted to be a good dude, be a good dad, trying to connect, trying to do everything right, still just dealing with all the drama, right?
Yep.
So okay, so I just wanted to be clear if you had a court order or what the status was with the first kid, why you going with this with the second kid, right? So it's kind of like you in turmoil with two different kids, two different women, two different states, two different situations.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a
That's a
lot.
lot. So,
Yeah. I
um,
started getting panic
Especially for
attacks.
nothing.
Yeah.
right,
I
right.
started getting panic attacks. Like so one I was flying to Florida and all of a sudden like like it felt like everything was closing in on me. And I was like in the middle seat and I was like I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
So I got up and I walked to the back. I was like, I thought I was going to die. I never had a panic attack before. And I was
You
like,
didn't know what it was.
I
What
didn't
was
know what it
happening to
was.
you?
And I
Yeah.
listen, I have a history of blood pressure. So I was already on blood pressure meds. I was like, Lord God, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Sanford and Son. I was like, yo, Lord, come and take me.
It's
I
the
was like,
big one.
yo, this is the big one, Elizabeth. This is the big one. So I didn't like,
I
I was
mean, we can laugh about it now, right?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
it's really not funny.
yeah.
It wasn't funny at the time. It
Yeah.
wasn't funny at the time, I tell you. So when I got out, I've settled because at the time I had been teaching yoga for 3 years. So I started connecting my breath. I was like, okay, listen, close my eyes. I was like, what's happening right now? And I just like settled into my breath and I was able to calm down. I talked to the stewardess. I told her what was going on. She was like, it sounds like you're having a panic attack. I was like, what?
But had you been having any other issues with all the alienation and the drama before? Because it seemed like you had been going through it for years. You almost
Yeah.
at a 10-year piece at this point dealing with this stuff. So
Well,
what was your health like? Were you getting therapy? Were you doing things to help cope? What were the coping mechanisms?
drugs, drinks, and that was it.
Okay.
Oh, so once you didn't have the drugs, now it's the panic attack.
Yeah, it makes sense. So,
Right? Yeah,
okay.
because that's what I was using to numb myself. Like when I was going through it, I was like, man, this is bull crap. I'm gonna go to the bar. Yo, bartender, keep them
What was
coming.
the who was your support system? Did you have any?
I really didn't. Well, it's so here it is. I think I had support, but I didn't want anybody to really know what was going on.
Yeah,
You see what I'm
You were
saying?
suffering in silence,
like most
like most
Exactly.
men.
people
That's it. That's
do.
what it was. Like I was suffering in silence because I didn't want, like, especially my family, I didn't want them to know what was going on. Like I wanted to act like everything was cool. And I'm a recovering people pleaser. So like my thing was like, I want you to feel good, but I don't give a crap about myself.
Yeah.
Right. So like looking back, especially after I had that panic attack, I had to tap in to what was really happening. So that's when I started like going to therapy. I went to this there was something called the Mankind Project. They had this new warrior training adventure because I recognized I was like, yo, I need to figure out what's going on for myself. Like, cause something's jacked up right now. I need to figure
So
this out.
around this time, this was before you found out that he wasn't your kid.
Right.
The the panic
Right.
attack. So
Yep.
what? Okay, back to that.
So,
Like, what
yeah.
led you to that point to figure that out?
So after that trip to Florida, like there was less and less communication. So I
Okay.
was like, this is crazy. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I would reach out. So the thing was I said, okay, I had gotten a job. I was getting back on my feet. I bought a tablet because at the time he was learning. He was big dinosaur fan. And like whenever we would talk, like he was always showing me dinosaurs and stuff. So I bought this tablet and I set up WhatsApp because that's what we would use to have conversations because it was like just easier to talk, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. So I put in WhatsApp. I remember I wrote out these instructions. I was like, hey, these are the instructions. This is how we can contact. I set up everything for him. And I
How
wrote a
old
note.
is he at this point?
At this point, he's 8, right?
Mm.
So he's like, he's going on 8, right? Because like this was like after that first visit, I was like, all right, man, let's do this. So he was going on 8. I sent it before his 8th birthday. And I'm like, okay, this is gonna be great. Cause now it's like I don't have to rely on her because
Her. Right.
right,
Go
it
through
got to
her. Yeah.
right. Because it got to the point where it's like, okay, I'm gonna call this time. I would call and then she wouldn't be available. But then she would put it back on me, well, like you're not there because she was using old times against me. Right. Now, again, we talked about this before. Guys, if you're gonna say you're gonna do something, do it. Do it. Be there. So that's one of the things I had to embrace. Like I had mentors that held me accountable. They were like, well, what's the reason you really didn't go there? And it was uncomfortable. I'm telling you, it was really uncomfortable. But to have somebody hold me accountable, they helped me see my ways. They helped me see, like, yo, you part of this too, bro. It's not just her. You part of
Absolutely.
it too.
Yeah.
Because you're making it harder on yourself with the conflict, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
With
exactly.
keeping it going, with not doing the right things, not doing the best things for you and the kid, right? Not her,
Exactly.
not thinking about her and what it's going to do to her, but just to stay a course on what's important. And so a lot of people get caught up because they want to not care and because they feel this way and they know that they're getting the short end of the stick. But in reality, you have to still show up because it's you showing up for the kid.
Showing up for the
So
kid.
did she know about the WhatsApp on the
Oh
tablet?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
So
she was okay with that.
she was okay with it. But here's the thing though. I was sending messages to this little kid, right? I was like through the tablet, like, yo, this. And I was like, what's the reason he's failing to respond? So I reached out to the mother, sent an email. I said, hey, did you get the package? And blah, blah. No message, no response.
Mhm.
So I was like,
So
now
no
here's
contact, cut off all
none,
contact.
none. So that's why I was like, now at that time, what I was working through was like worthiness. So there was a part of me that was like, well, maybe I don't deserve to talk to this kid. So I remember I was talking to my friend Big D. He was like, yo, man. He's like, what's the scoop here? He's like, yo, what's going on with the boys? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yo, dude, I haven't heard from the second one bro, it's been almost a year. He's like, yo, Big P, put that course case in and get a paternity test. And I'm like, nah, dude, I'm not. No. Because again, like, so you said something before, you looking to be the good guy. No, I was looking to be the nice guy.
That's the same thing in my book because
Okay.
the not the nice guy is the good guy, right? The nice guy is the good guy. So you said you were a people pleaser, and I think that this particular situation lasted so long because of that. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
in anybody's eyes, even in hindsight, just knowing that this got you to this point and you found out that this kid wasn't yours, look at everything that you still did. That's a good guy.
Right.
I don't
Exactly.
consider it nice. I consider it admirable because you ignored all the red flags for your own reasons, but in turn it was beneficial for them because you were a dad to a kid that wasn't yours.
Yeah. Looking back on it, yeah. So I'll agree with you on
Which
that
is
one.
not a bad thing. I don't want to,
Right.
for whoever is watching, I find it very, like I said, honorable and admirable for any man to step up and take care of a child that's not their own, even whether you know or not. Even if you're scared to find out, if you've been in that child's life since the day they've been born, you are the daddy that they know. You are the father that they have, right?
Yeah.
And so it's nothing. I don't frown upon that at all. And so that's
Okay.
that's why I said the good guy
I
in
get
this
it.
case.
All right. I can rock with that. I can
All right,
rock.
now get us to the point, man, where
Oh, here's how
Get
it
them
worked, right?
tests.
So
the big
so I
bang.
so bigger bang a bang. So I was like, okay, fine. I finally decided to put the case in. I put in for a paternity test down in Florida. The case was like, for anybody that's gone through it, it took a long time. So I put it in last August, not this August that just passed. This 24, this is 2023. I put it in August. There was a couple months where it was just dead on a doornail. Now I did it pro se, which means I committed or I put in my paperwork myself.
Represented yourself.
Represented
Yep.
yourself. Yeah.
Now I started. Now again, I at the time again because I had started to get myself established. So now I got my life insurance, and I'm also putting in like wills and trusts. So like I was like, okay, listen, it's gonna be good for me to have a paternity test because if anything happens to me, because listen, I'm getting up in age. I'm gonna be 50 next year. So I was like, look, people, I'm blessed to have another day, and if anything happens, I want my kids to be okay, right, for the long haul. So I was like, listen, if I get a paternity test, at least it's in there. The case started in August 2023. There was a dormant space. I was reaching out, and when I submit the case, she got a lawyer. That's when the red flag happened for me. I was like, this kid may
But
not.
for what?
Yeah.
To deny the paternity test because if it's your kid, you would willingly take that child to get tested, right?
Exactly. And that's when I was like, yo, what the heck is going on? So that's when I was like, damn, this is crazy. So then when she got the lawyer and it was just me, like everything was dormant. Now fast forward to March 2024. Now all of a sudden they're reaching back out like, hey, okay, listen, we're about to do this paternity testing because like it's different states, it has to go through this agency. So the agency, I get the paternity test, I take it, and I'm like, damn, something in me was like, damn, this kid's not gonna be, he's not mine. I don't know what it was. Now this may be crazy, but my parents are deceased, and I remember after I took the paternity test, I was driving to work, and my mom was like, take care of yourself because this is not yours. And I was like, damn. I started crying. I was like, yo, what the heck? Now, here's the thing. The lawyer called me. He was like, hey, listen, I just want to I'll let you know when the paternity results come in. And I'm like, what? Something was like, and this was my dad coming through his spirit, like, yo, call that mother hoo-ha agency and let them know to send you the results. So I called them. I said, hey, listen, results in? Nope. They're like, we'll send you the results. I said, hey, listen, what's the email you have? It was only her email. So I said, put mine on there. I'm at work, tick, ding. I get the results. I had to read this 3 times because it was like, there's 0% chance you were the biological father. Now, knowing the number now, the number is going up to close to it's actually, I think it's around between like $143,000 and $144,000 I paid in child support over this time.
To her?
Yeah.
Just her alone.
Just her alone.
Oh
this
my
kid
God.
that was not yours.
It's not mine.
Oh my God.
I say
So
that
had to be the first thought, right?
First thought, what? Listen, so
Man.
I went through a rush of emotions. I was like, I had to go walking. I was like, what the and I'm at work. I'm like, what the I'm like, yo, listen, I told my boss, I was like, I gotta go home. I just found this out.
Hell yeah, you gotta go home. What?
And I'm in a men's group. So I was like, yo, guys, I need support right now, man. I just found out this out. And they were like, yo, where you at? We're gonna be at your house. So I have my guys there chilling with me, like
So
helping.
being that you got the background, why didn't you get a paternity test on her?
I didn't want to know, man.
Yeah, he was afraid.
I
A lot of men will sit on it, like, because who wants to be the jackass, right? Who wants to feel like they've been played to that capacity? And then if you form a bond with the kid, then that's even more worse for both of you guys. So a lot of men will not get it done. And this is how people find out 18, 20 years later after they've paid
Listen,
Man.
a substantial amount of child support. They
yep,
built a relationship. Now it's your kid. It's your
right.
kid.
It is. And you listen, fellas, I'm gonna tell you right now, because I'm going through it. I found out April 13th that he's not my kid. I'm still paying child support until my court hearing, my final hearing next week, where they
Man.
cancel the agreement and they cut my arrears. So that's why I'm like, when you reached out, you're like, I sent you a private message. I was like, look, this is what's going on. When you were like, hey, this happened. You want to be on a share your story? I was like, yes, because I want more men to know. Like, if you're out of wedlock, and even if you are, get a paternity test in the beginning.
Yes, that is
It's
mandatory.
From the start.
That is
From the
mandatory.
Hey,
mandatory.
because the thing is, if the woman knows, like 100%, not the Maury show 100%, but like you really know, why not do it?
Why not?
Why not do it?
So
The women do it. Give them the paternity test for these kids, but they don't want to do it because it's a game in place. It's a
right.
game in place.
And now here's the thing too,
Man, that's
because like
tough.
after this whole thing, like, because I know you said before, just a respect for like whatever case is going on, stuff like that. After this is done, I'm going hard body and work and finding politicians that want to push mandatory paternity test forward. Because what's happening is a lot of states are resisting this because child support fuels pensions, municipal bonds. That's
It's
why
a business.
it's a business. Family
Business.
Yes.
court is a business, and that's why I'm very particular. Like when I work with men right now, and I'm like, look, take care of your stuff. Well, Paul, I don't want to do. Listen, it's not about you. You want to establish like this is your kid because you're going to emotionally and energetically create a bond with this kid. So right now, what I'm dealing with right now, this is what's happening. I'm feeling like I'm grieving a kid that I know is dying, and I know when they're going to die,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
So
it's a
do
messed up feeling, bro.
so do you still want the relationship with the kid?
How can I not? But the thing is I got to be very strategic about it because just doing my research after all this is that like if I have a steady establishment with the kid, she can go put me back on child support.
Because you're legally his father.
Legally his father.
Because you
Have you done? Are
I'm
you
on
gonna do the work to reverse that as well? You have to, I guess, to
yeah,
stop the
that's the
child
final
support.
hearing. Yeah, that's the final hearing. So like
so you signed the birth certificate. So let me ask you this: what was her response when you talked to her after that? You have it?
we haven't talked. It's everything's
Do,
been through a lawyer. I haven't heard from her in 2 years, bro.
do you know if the real father is in his
I have
life?
no idea. I have no idea.
Yeah, because I was
She
gonna
got her
say,
That's
boyfriend.
that's
Yeah.
insane. Like
yeah,
somebody just said it right when I said
yeah.
it.
I was
It's fine.
definitely gonna say, you're almost, stuck in a sense because it's a catch-22. You been taking care of this kid. You bonded with this kid. Is your kid as far as you known until this paternity test proven otherwise, right? And so it's almost like it's not his fault. It's not
No.
the kid's fault. And so if you retract and just say, hey, I don't want to do anything. I'm done with this. This is not my kid, and walk away. How does that work?
Well,
Because he can
yeah.
still feel away because you know that he might not have a father. He might not know who his father is for the rest of his life, and that can be very impactful and bad for him.
Right.
So
So,
as
yeah.
a man, I would never understand women. We don't even can't even relate or tap into what that could feel like, for you.
Yeah, so this is the thing, right? Because it's a very interesting situation for me because my family wants her head. They want her head. Like, look, I'm
That's
being
that's
real.
typically the human response
Yeah, they
to
want her
someone
head.
who does something like
Yeah,
this.
that's dirty,
Right.
man. That's
So,
dirty.
and here's the real piece about it, which is the challenge that I still work with, right? Is that like there's money involved in having, because I had to get a lawyer for this, because the thing is, guys, is if you do this pro se and you mess up the paperwork, you could still be on the hook for child support, even though it's
Yeah,
not
you
your
would
kid.
mess the whole
Your
case.
whole case
You mess the
yeah,
whole
messed
case
up.
up. Because there's a whole bunch of language. Unless you have a law degree or something, there's a whole bunch of language that's like, yo, this is some Latin hoo-ha.
And you dealing with interstate. I mean, yeah.
It's a very difficult case. You would have to get an attorney.
You got-
I got
State
to.
laws, groups. It's a
Yeah.
lot. We
So
had an
here's the,
interstate case, so we know. Like, we went pro se as far as we possibly could, and at some point you're gonna get stopped because you're not the law. You don't know case law. You
Yeah.
cannot go in there and work this way. The way others do. But
Yeah.
and so I'm very fortunate that I got family that's helped me in the process. Now I still pay them back, right? The thing is, though, I want people to understand with this type of situation is that whatever you pay, that's why the mandatory or the paternity test in the beginning is key, because if you've paid any money into to a woman for child support and it's not your kid, there's a high chance that you'll never get that money back. Now, I paid right now to get this. I paid a retainer to this lawyer. She put the paperwork. Now, again, I did most of the work, so it's really refining based on the county. She's down in the county where the mother is, right?
okay.
The thing is, though, is that this paternity case isn't for me to get money back. It's to stop the bleeding.
Right.
Now, if I want to go get the money back, here's the paradox. If I want to go get the money back, now it's a civil case. That's about an average of $10,000 retainer. Now, chances are it's not going to stop at the $10,000.
Right.
And you got to look, like, I've had to look at what's the risk reward. So I can keep putting in money, right, and try to go after her for this thing. But two things. First of all, how much money am I getting back? Second of all, what's the impact on the child? Because again, the child's got nothing to do with this.
Exactly.
You got nothing to do with this.
Exactly.
So if I'm trying to bleed water from a stone, what's the impact? How's she reacting to this kid? I don't know this, but as that father figure that's been in his life, I'm not going to put him through that. So it's about, so I'll be free of getting into it because, like, family may see this, but like, I have plans in place for me and for him.
So what if you find out that it was a game all along and his father have been in his house and she was only using you for money? Then what?
Bruh. Well,
because I understand that you still want to be in this child's life because you've been there.
And then, not to mention, she's gonna start alienating him the real way, right? Because she doesn't know exactly how you feel. Y'all haven't spoke. She don't know your plans. So she's already probably planting the seed that that's not your dad. He doesn't want you. He doesn't love you, so that the kid can disconnect because she thinks that you're disconnecting. And you know what I'm saying? And so now when you try to reconnect, he may not even want to have anything with you because she's already put all these things in his head. So you're up against a lot of possibilities that may not.
And would you be okay with that? Is the question.
Because that takes a lot of work.
Like not connected? Huh?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing that's messed up for me because I haven't had a connection with this kid for 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
that's the only thing in all this that's like, look, it's more
what's
about
in your heart.
What's that?
What's in your heart?
To do as far as what? Like what to do next?
As far as him.
Listen, I'm always gonna be a father to this kid. Like, and people could be like, you're a freaking idiot. And believe me, I've got friends, they probably watch this and be like, yo, Paul, I told you you're a fool if you want to say it. But like, listen, and for anyone that's a father out there, people could think fathers like are stoic or like fathers don't give a crap or we don't show emotion, but we love hard, man. We love hard. And most people never get that. That's why I think men get no respect in family court because we're seen as a utility, as a resource, rather than a part of a family.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So what I've been really focused on is like rather than being like a physical father, I got to step into father energy. What's that? I'm glad you asked. It's about still creating a space and container for this kid. And me stepping into that helped with my relationship with my first kid because listen, I had to go to my first kid and be like, hey, listen, because like you gotta like I'm trying to force my first kid to have a relationship with this kid. So now I gotta mend that fence.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot to deal with.
That's a lot.
So what
Yeah.
about the third child?
God.
You get
So,
alienated from that child too?
listen, let me tell you.
No.
So
Man,
yeah,
I'm starting to think you the toxic one, man.
I was.
But
I
it
wasn't
don't
paying
matter. You
There's
attention.
sit
nothing
back.
that you could do
to not,
unless you were harming those children
Exactly.
for anyone to alienate your
and that's
family.
why I said that because
So you could be as toxic as they come.
because
That's
people can
not.
say that you cannot be a great person for a relationship, but you can be a great father.
Listen, and listen, what like I have my red flags. I have my stuff because when I met the third baby mother, I was in that personal development space. And I failed to integrate everything I was learning. So I met the third baby mama in a personal development thing. And I was all in that love and hoo-ha and everything is great and stuff. And again, I missed the red flags. And this chick was crazy.
And at
But
what point was
she was. Listen, we talk about I'm the toxic one. I like a little crazy, man. Listen, that was a lot of fun sometimes.
at what
You like crazy
so
until it get real damn crazy.
Until I get real. You already said it. You said, yup.
Okay.
so at what point did you have this baby mama and you was dealing with the other situation? Was it around the same time? Give us a
Yeah.
timeline with that.
So it was when the second kid, when the second son, so I'm just thinking of time because so this started happening when the second mother got in a relationship, and I knew we were friends. Like I started getting into a relationship with this third one, right? And I thought that, like, I really thought I was going to marry this one. And when the longer I was with her, I was like, yo, this is not the one. Now she kept pressing. She was like, I want to have a kid. I want to have a kid. And I was like, no, not right now.
Did she have any other kids?
Nope. No.
So it's her first kid with you.
Right. And she knew what I was experiencing with like, she knew the alienation with the first kid. She knew the struggles I was having, like managing my relationship with my first kid and then traveling, going back and forth and trying to manage that relationship with the second kid. And then doing my best to manage it so they can have the two sons can have a relationship with each other. Because I know when I lost my parents, like having my siblings was like a key because I don't know what I would have done if I was in it alone. I didn't want them to ever think that they were alone. So she knew what I was experiencing. So when she was like, well, I want to be with you and I want to have a family, I was like, I want to have that too. Not right now. So we went through our thing. I was like, listen, I don't think this is going to work out. And I really did care for this woman. I thought I did at the time. So we broke up and then we started connecting again. I was like, all right, let's give this another go. And I remember my sister, we had a party at my sister's house, and my sister found out that Kim told a friend of my sister's that she really wants to have a baby with me. And I was like,
Why is she telling people she want to have a baby with you?
Yo, well, what's
going on with this?
So we got back together because again, she was crazy, and I liked that. I did like that.
Crazy in what way? Just give us a quick story.
So the sex was amazing. The sex was freaking awesome, next level
stuff.
stuff.
That kind of crazy.
That kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, look. So again, like, man, think with this head rather than the other one, because you're gonna get in a situation like mine, and I want you to do better than me, please. So she was like, okay, let's get back together. She planned a trip. And at the times I was like, listen, are you on birth control? She said, yes. So I said, okay. So
that's the oldest trick in the book.
Oldest trick in the book. Again, my blind ass, excuse my language, wasn't seeing the red flags. So that's when I was like, we got back together a little bit, and I was like, actually, no, this is not going to work. She reached out. She was like, you're going to have a kid. I was like, how am I having a kid when you were on the pill? I was like, look, I must have some amazing sperm because like, I don't know how this. I mean, listen, I was taking a lot of sea moss and stuff.
Never on it. Now, anytime a woman tell you they want a baby and they telling everybody else they want a baby with you, they gonna get that baby.
And you feel,
especially if you put it in them.
She was hell bent
and believing that she on birth control.
Yeah.
Nah.
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna be devil's advocate for that lady went on a birth control.
Yup, thank you. I just want to give a heads up too. I just got some more time. So okay, so she comes back and I'm like, okay, well, listen, same situation with the second baby. I was like, look, I'll be there with you. We'll go to appointments, but we're not going to be in a relationship. We'll co-parent. So she was like, well, if you're not going to be in a relationship, I'm out of here. So she left. She was all over the place. I was reaching out. I was like, listen, let's try to work this out. I don't want you stressed while you're pregnant. Like, let's just try to work this out, figure out what
Did you plan to have a paternity test with this baby?
Oh, yeah, if I ever get to meet her.
What?
How old is your daughter?
She's going to be 7 in January.
And you haven't seen her not one time in her life?
No.
By the woman that wanted a baby with you?
Yeah. Oh man.
I went to Georgia several times. I know I'm not supposed to say, but I went to Georgia several times. I was like, listen, I'm gonna be here. I went to go meet her.
Wait, take a step back. So she moved?
Yeah. Out of state.
So even when the baby was born, you didn't know, like, okay, Just take us back to when she told you she was pregnant. Just tell us.
Deshaun, no, I'm not paying child support for that child. No. So because I wanted to be in a relationship, but the thing is, especially I wanted to be in the child's life because it's a girl. I was like, look, I didn't want her to go through life thinking that her father didn't give a crap. Okay. So I expressed that to the mother. I was like, look, you can hate me as much as you want, but like, let me at least be involved with the kid, whatever it takes. So that's when I would go down and I would tell her where I'd be because I didn't know where she lived at the time. Like she was living in different places. Once she established where she lived, then I was able to go there. And I was like, it was interesting because where she is a very rural part of Georgia.
It's giving deja vu.
Is she in Macon, Georgia?
No.
Oh.
No. This is the second woman that done skipped state with your kid. But is it your kid?
I don't think it is.
You don't think the third one is yours either?
After all I just went through? No. No, I don't.
I don't know.
Because like, let me tell you.
So,
listen, that's why. So here's the thing, right? So that's why I was like, look, I want to be involved, right? But the thing is what I found out about Georgia is that if the father's getting involved, then there's a paternity test, right? So that's why I was like, well, hold up. But what's the reason you don't want me in life? You can be angry, but are you that angry? Are you that angry? So that's why
angry about what?
Well, yeah, because why did she leave?
That you didn't want to be with her?
Right. And listen,
it's possible she could be that angry because of that.
But like one of the things, and I'm going to say this, and this may be a judgment.
Got her baby.
Yeah.
So was it really about y'all being together, or was it really about her?
It was not. It was not.
So when you found out where she lived, why didn't you get the paternity test then?
What do you mean? Like when I found out where she was, like why didn't I get the paternity test? Yeah. Boy, you must be laying.
Right, like man, they leaving state. They ain't even moving around the corner.
But they going across the damn country, right?
Listen, man, like, again, I can laugh about it. I can laugh about it now, but listen, this was a lot of years of pain, bro. A lot of years of my brother and sister. There's a lot of years of pain.
This is a safe space, so if don't nobody know, we understand.
You're the first that I done seen with 3 kids.
Right, and so to deal with that, just even the thought process with it, people couldn't understand the mental capacity you have to survive something like that. And listen, they may be calling you deadbeats and things just because it is, you're not present.
Right.
But you have to know why. You have to know the full facts. You have to know the full story. You have to
Mm.
literally have been part of it to really, really know. And so people pass judgment anyway, which we don't give a damn about that, of course. But
Right.
just to say 3 different kids, nobody would ever believe that you've been alienated by 3 times.
No.
Yeah.
And that's why a
And,
lot.
and and you took accountability. You said, yes, I wasn't the great boyfriend and spouse, but hey, I want to be there for my kids. So
My
it,
And
kid, man.
And the first thing people would try to say is, why didn't you fight, fight for your third child? Like you could have found out if she was yours. You could have did things before she moved out of the state.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of people sit on stuff
I mean,
and, and,
yeah.
and
Well,
wait around thinking that they have time to do this or do that, and until it's not that particular case
And even in
anymore.
his case, he already owed his child support. He's paying for a lawyer for another kid that's
That's
been
a lie.
alienated.
That's a
He
lie.
probably he probably just
yeah.
didn't have it for the third
Exactly,
one,
Well,
exactly. Of
so
course.
and she
yeah.
probably knew that.
Listen, I was tired, man. I was tired. I was like, while I was going through all this, I was still going to court and following my motions so I could get equity and time with my kid. So I was beat up. Like, listen, I'm just like this year, I'm just coming out of this malaise, man, this fogginess. Cause I'm like,
Yeah,
yo, I would like, and I was talking to my sister about this, and she was like, Paul, I don't think you realize what you've gone through. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, how many people would be like able to do this? And I'm gonna tell you right now, since this is a safe space, like I went through a lot of times of suicide ideation. I was like, look, they'd probably be better off without me. If they're treating
It's
me like
very,
this,
very common. It's
it's
very common.
common. And that's why,
yeah,
like,
man, that's a
looking
lot.
into it, it's a
Common
lot.
more than people know.
I've
More than
been there,
people
man.
know.
It's a lot, man. It's
Yeah,
a
man.
lot, man. You wake up every day, you wonder where your kids are. You don't know where your kids are. But you the man, you the protector. You want to be a great father, but you being stopped like it's tough, man.
And,
It's
and I
crazy.
mean, how much is enough? That's what people don't calculate. Like
Listen,
it's easy to say, do this, do that. They should have did this. Oh, they should have done more, or fight harder, or this or that. But do you really know what that looks like?
listen.
They don't.
And
Most people
I
don't.
dealt with one. You dealt with three. So like I couldn't even imagine.
Let me tell you, exactly. Battles like this is the thing, right? About, and I want to express this to men that if you're in this situation, get support in whatever way. And I'm telling you right now, my commitment once this is a wrap to get on my game and create something for men so they have resources. Like you don't have money, okay, how much you need? Where you at? Splat. Don't worry about paying me back, man. Just get your kid, man. Get in your kid's life. So
It does that to you. That's how Who's the Deadbeat came about.
listen, because I'll tell you what right now, like, and I was talking to my sister about that. She's like, my mess is my message. So I'm intent on making sure like dudes that go through this in the future, like, yo, okay, you don't know. Look, let's get you the resources. Yo, we're gonna
Yeah.
get you in your kid's life, man,
That's
because
the
they
main
need you.
problem.
That's the main
Right.
thing. Let me tell you, man, I was making attempts. I'm not even gonna say try because try is like, okay, I could try and pick some up. I'm not gonna do it. I made attempts. I was like, look, I want to be in this kid's life repeatedly. And she'd be like, well, I don't know if I want to do that, blah, blah, blah. I would be like, listen, if you're not gonna let me in my kid's life, let me see a picture of my daughter. She didn't even want to give me that. Now here's the key thing. I had to reach out. I was reaching out to her friends. Hey, listen, Kim's, I just want to see a picture of my daughter, man. I just want to see her. One of her friends out of 10 I reached out to was like, look, I'm going to send you this, but you don't tell her I sent you this because then she'll cut me off. Brother, I saw the picture. I cried for days, man.
Do she
I'm
look like you?
Yep. Got my freaking pointy Spock ears.
So
Like, yeah.
I wonder if she's telling her bad things about you.
I don't
If
think
she
she's
never
telling.
seen him for
Listen,
7 years, what is a daddy to her? Who is her daddy?
So
Exactly.
here's my gut's telling me she's got a boyfriend and the dude probably looks like me. She's
Like
got a boy.
you. You
Yes, I
why you think
really
he look
believe that
like you?
because it's easier to tell the story. It's easier to
I
tell the
mean,
story.
at a 7-year-old, he could look like Santa Claus. If that's your daddy, that's your daddy.
Yeah.
Like it's that easy. It's that simple.
But knowing who she is, that's how
Yeah.
she would operate.
Yeah, you know her. You know her.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, so for her, it's not a big
All
thing.
right. So I'm gonna give you the floor real quick.
Yeah.
Give you 30 seconds. You look into the camera right now,
Mhm.
like if you talking to your daughter. What would you say to her?
I love you. I love you. I'll always love you. You know, you'll always have a space here for me. Always have a space in my heart. Whatever age you are, you come find me. The door is always open to you. Always. And know when you have dreams and you see me, it's me. It's me. I may be familiar when you wake up to the waking life, but in the dream world, I come see you on a regular and know when you're ready, I'm here for you. I'm here.
Okay.
And I see
Yeah.
her in dreams too.
Yeah. I mean, I bet.
I see her in dreams, man.
Man, she.
Go get your baby.
Yeah.
What's stopping you? Not you don't have to explain because
Yeah,
that's not a real question because I already
yeah,
know.
yeah,
But I'm saying to you, nothing should stop you
yeah,
because you've
mm,
come a long way.
yeah,
You've been through a lot, right? And so
mm,
she deserved that.
Your your
They don't
son
even
deserves
they
that.
we know what the intentions are. We know, the obstacles. We know the barriers.
yeah,
But in reality, you have the capabilities to go lay your hands on this baby girl
yeah,
and you can find out if she's yours.
yeah,
And it doesn't matter that it's been 7 years. Don't make it 17.
Yeah,
mm,
that's
yeah.
true.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot lately since, especially as I'm coming close to this final hearing. And I think my bandwidth just wasn't there to even address it. Like I had
Yeah.
attempted and I'm like, I just I just I didn't know if I could handle another heartbreak.
Yeah.
Like
Mm,
I just
I
to be
understand and
real,
I respect that. We definitely get you. We get it.
yeah,
But we wouldn't be who we are after
yeah,
everything we've been through. Maybe not 3 different times, but still 2 children.
yeah,
Still, even if it was one kid that we had to fight for, that he was you.
mm, yeah,
You know?
yeah,
So you have to understand we can chop it up with you, we can hear all the good stuff, and you will change some lives. But right now, the only lives that matter is those children.
yeah, you gotta
mhm,
go get him.
You
yeah,
can't help nobody else if you didn't go at least try.
mm.
Yeah,
You got that. You can do that. It's not about
Yeah. So
heartbreak because you're going to be a hero in some eyes and you're going to be a villain in some eyes. But for
look,
what it's worth, you shouldn't even care.
so I'm hearing what you're saying, and in these matters for me, and especially with her, I gotta be strategic.
Fair.
I gotta be
You already
strategic.
said she crazy as hell, so
Look, I know why she moved where she did.
mm,
I know why, especially after doing my research. I know why she moved where she did.
cause them laws
Yup. She's
and you
not stupid.
and and,
She's a Harvard grad. She's
and
no
you
fool.
oh, okay. So she's educated.
and you
Right.
not knowing the laws because if she left, you could have had her come back if you went to go file in time.
Listen, that's so I'm saying this for myself. And I'm saying this for men that are in this. your heart's going to be in this. And most people will never get and understand what you're experiencing. Most people are going to tell you what you're supposed to do, what you need to do, blah, blah, blah.
All people, not
Yep.
most.
Yep.
All people.
They all.
Don't even give anybody a beacon of hope because it's not there. It's
Right.
nobody that will ever understand what you've been through.
No
Even the
one.
next father that's going through it, he can relate somehow, but he can't walk in he ain't walked in your shoes. Nobody.
You're not walking. So what I'm saying is be strategic. And what that means, if they're in another state, know the laws, know what you're going to do to get in your child's life. And one of the most important pillars, have a support system. Because the journey will pummel you. I don't want you going.
And act fast. As soon as she leaves, you should be right behind her. Because if you wait 6 months, it's gonna be a problem.
Now that's the residence. So
again,
man, that's tough.
Listen, I hear what you're saying, right? And people, and again, I just from my perspective, like going through what I've gone through and having in my mind what my plans are, I can run fast right off a cliff. Okay. If I don't know the direction, I don't know the terrain, I can run fast right off a cliff. But if I know the terrain, I know what's happening, I can get to wherever I need to go efficiently.
Yeah, but then you run into family court. And
look,
sometimes you can know exactly where you're going, and then you still get railroad off that cliff.
And so it's like the thing is, it's just to each his own.
Yeah,
it's every case is different. Every situation is different.
Mm-hmm.
All that. So you've dropped some great gems. Your personal life. We don't. Yeah. You know what it's gonna take for you to make those certain moves. We don't. True. But again, this is what it's about. This is what we do. Yeah. We do. This is what we do. So we have to say it. You listening, you hear it, you receive it. But at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you in your circumstances. So
we wish you the best.
That's all. With all due respect,
Thank you too.
I mean, we know deadbeats are good enough. Just like we know bitter baby mamas and bitter baby daddies and all that stuff. We know people that is a part of parental alienation, but we also know what it's like to walk away.
Yeah.
We also know what it feels like to be defeated, right? And so we give everybody that space because it can be that way. You can feel that way today, and tomorrow you can be full suited and booted.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just, it has to be said. And so for who's ever watching, it's gonna always be said. Because it's always a time, it's a matter of time.
So if I can acknowledge something real quick, I want to acknowledge you two. Because for you two to create this space, and I watch and I'm like, what? For you two to create this space for us to share a story so that more people out there recognize they're not alone. Look, I didn't want to tell my story for years because I was like, nobody's going through what I'm going through. Nobody will get it. Until I started going, when I was in family court and waiting to see the judge, and I started talking to other dudes and recognizing like, oh, Junk, I'm not the only one. You two are providing a platform for empowerment, for transparency, for truth. So bless up to you two. I appreciate what you two do.
Thank you.
Always support what's going on your channel because listen, this is the real. And I appreciate how we had this conversation because it wasn't just like Cowtown, like, oh, you poor. No, I appreciate the reflection to see what's going on, man, to challenge yourself. And I challenge other dudes, like, it ain't just on one side. There's something I had to recognize there was something in me that was calling in these women. Yeah. And until I got to acknowledge that, then it stopped. So, so bless up to you two. And thank you,
brother. Thank
you so much.
Thank you for your transparency. Thank you for, acknowledging us we appreciate it as well because we walk the walk. We don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk.
I know
We
it. I
we've
know it.
walked it, ran it, fell in it, bled, sweat, blood, tears, right?
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
So we don't
mm.
just do this for likes and views and clout and drama and no, like it is very serious. And so the more people who talk about it, the more we can raise awareness, the more people can share information. And like you said, it's all about strategy.
Yeah.
That's the one part that everybody misses because it's overflown with emotion and the dark side of things, but you have to be strategic. That's how you win. This ain't checkers, it's chess.
It's that. Yo, can you say that again?
It ain't checkers, it's chess.
And
Thank
man,
you.
you gotta remove your emotions. Like it's one thing I noticed, man can control their emotions, but not when it comes to their kids.
What?
So when you fighting this family court battle, you have to go back to that. You have to control your emotions and get the job done. And
I'm
you got to
telling
go
you.
into family court knowing that everything is not just going to be you going in and that's it. I'm walking out with my
It's not
kids.
instantaneous.
It's not.
Look,
It's a fight.
process.
It's a battle. You might win some wars.
You might
Lose some.
you might lose
But-
some. And look, I gotta run, but like I want to say this one thing, and you bring up a great point. Family court is meant to fluster and frustrate you.
Yes.
That's what they'll do. They'll talk to them. How about this title and blah 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 blah. You be like, what?
What?
Okay. All right.
You got it in the
Look.
bag and they be like, no, that's not the law. That's not the
Yeah.
law.
And
It's all
look, if
about
you
what
go,
you can prove, not what you know.
exactly, and I'm telling you, if you go and fellas, if you go into court, look sharp. Because those cats want you to freaking come and do it. They want to find anything they
They want
can
to rip you to shreds
rip
and
you
laugh
to
about it with their
shreds.
colleagues later.
What?
Yeah.
They paid.
Look, man, and have somebody go in that court with you that you love, that loves you. Because I'm telling you, those like I'm blessed up to my sister. Because the first couple times I was in court, guess what? She was right there behind me. She was fidgeting, wanting to get involved. I was like, Liz, chill. But like,
Yeah, earlier you had said you didn't have a support system, and then when it came to pass the story and it was there, I'm just like, okay, great, because it's no way anybody could survive things like this alone. This is why men unalive themselves. We already know. Even some that may have a little support system, but it's never enough. So have something. You cannot go at this alone. You can't do it alone.
let
So
them
we
know.
appreciate you, Paul, man. And enjoy your night, enjoy your weekend, man.
Thank you, and keep us posted. Let us know what's up with the final hearing.
Yo, I'll
and
let
what
you know on
your-
the
what your
23rd.
strategy is for your daughter.
Listen, I'm gonna let you know on the 23rd, and I'm gonna let you know when you get a picture of me and her. All right.
Definitely. I'd love to see
I
it.
didn't quit on it. I didn't quit on it. Just took a pause.
Yeah,
And that's okay.
that's healthy.
That's okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate you too.
All right.
Have a
Peace.
good night.
All right, you too.